Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You're on to Augustine again, and I'm here to give us another broadcast. If you listened to my broadcast yesterday, I want to really appreciate those who are meticulously looking through my broadcast and are taking note of the sensitive information that I'm passing across. I'm also here again to give us another broadcast, and I'm going to be regularly giving broadcasts. It's very likely that I'll be giving broadcasts regularly, Mondays through Fridays. And then Saturday, Sunday, I should also make plans out to make sure that I am regularly giving out broadcasts. Now, if you're turning into my broadcast for the first time, I would appreciate if you give me a thumbs up or and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Click on the bell button beside you there so that anytime I'm live, you would get the notification. Now, the title of my broadcast today is We Shall End Wars as We Build into a Billion. Now, I'm speaking on behalf of the Kringle Private Society. Of course, my description clearly says Kringle Economic Developer. Now, before I would actually go into further details, I want you to understand that the crypto space is slowly gaining global adoption. And we are going to listen to a particular video, a short video, watch it, understand it, and then we listen to that beautiful lady in our Kringle Cash back office. There is one thing that I want us to understand. She's going to address us today. For those of us who hasn't taken time to listen, do well to listen because I am going to play one of her clips, and then I make my conclusions, or I conclude on this broadcast, and then come again tomorrow to give one or two other updates. Okay. Now that said, let me share my screen. Okay. I think my screen is now being shared. All right. So let's join me while we watch this very quick video. This particular one.
One thing seems very clear, and that is that cryptocurrency appears to be gaining more and more momentum. For example, El Salvador recently announced residents there can pay their taxes with Bitcoin. Silicon Valley titans, whether you like his politics or not, CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, he's promoting it as the way of the future. So do you know what a blockchain is? What is blockchain technology? What are the differences between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a bunch of other cryptocurrencies? What is a Bitcoin wallet? What is an exchange? One thing I can say is that the phenomenon and interest is very real. Here to break it all down, MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor is with us. All right, from a distance, I have been following you. I have been studying you. I have spent hundreds of hours with two particular friends of mine. They broke me down. And I wish I knew more. I still can't explain the algorithm. I know what an algorithm is, but an algorithm that never has a final answer, I have a hard time understanding. Why don't you break this down simply for people like me that don't fully understand it?
Okay. Well, let's start with the basic principle. People came to the United States for two things, property and freedom. And Bitcoin represents property and freedom to 8 billion people. Satoshi created a computer program that would run in a distributed fashion on computers all around the earth. And that program creates 21 million virtual coins in cyberspace. The way it works is he created perfect digital gold on an open monetary network. And so that means if you wanted to save $1,000 and you wanted to have it beyond the reach of a company, a CEO, a government, a bank, and you wanted to have personal custody of it, you could have that with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a technical solution to give 8 billion people property rights. If I can own $100 in my hand as easily as I can own $1 billion. And we've never had that in the history of the human race. So what does it mean to El Salvador? Well, at El Salvador, you have a bunch of people that don't have a bank, and they don't have assets, and they don't have access to Wall Street. So when their relatives remit money back to El Salvador, they lose 10% of their money through money transfer agents. Once they get the money, they lose 10 to 20% of its value a year because they're storing it in a currency, not in an asset. The exciting thing about Bitcoin is Bitcoin lets you save your money in an asset that goes up in value, and it lets you move that asset at the speed of light all around the planet. And what the president of El Salvador realized is, using the Bitcoin network, they could cut $1 billion of cost in remittances every year to their people. They could put themselves on the world's first digital monetary network. And instead of their people losing 10 to 20% of their value a year and 10% when they move it, they're going to actually make money, and they're going to be able to move that value around for free.
Michael, let me ask you this. I mean, because you talk a lot about the history of sound money and other cryptocurrencies, but you really think it's Bitcoin. You think Bitcoin is the breakout for a reason. Why over, say, Ethereum or any other one?
Bitcoin is the dominant crypto asset network. It's the oldest, it's the strongest, it's the most secure, and it was engineered to do one thing well, which is to keep track of 21 million virtual coins in cyberspace. The other cryptos are applications, and application networks are focused upon functionality or performance. Bitcoin is optimized for durability, integrity, security. If I want to store $1 billion for 1,000 years, I don't want a lot of bells and whistles on it. I just want to know it's secure and nobody's going to change it. So why Bitcoin? Because Satoshi started with a model of gold, and then he got rid of all the defects of gold. If you took gold and you said you can't mine anymore, you can't use it for jewelry, and nobody can rehypothecate it or short it, and you could take personal custody of it in your head, and no one can steal it from you, you would have a better gold. And so Bitcoin is designed to be that long-term store of value. And of course, humans have been looking for a way to store their life force in a store of value for thousands and thousands of years. It's kind of part of the human dream.
What do you say to critics that worry that it will lose all of its value? Or what do you say, clearly governments, some seem to be dead set against this. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, it's the most successful technology in our lifetimes. It's grown faster and more powerfully than Google or Facebook or Apple or Amazon. And it's a network and an asset that's held by about 150 million people, and we're adding 2 million people a week. So other than the dollar and the euro, it's the most widely held monetary asset in the world. And there's every indication that nation states are embracing it. Jerome Powell says it's a digital asset. Christina Lagarde says it's a digital asset. The head of the SEC taught a class on it. I think that people understand it's not a threat to the dollar, by the way. What's going to happen is the U.S. dollar is going to be the world reserve currency, and it's going to run on billions and billions of mobile devices. And the digital asset that underlies that currency is going to be Bitcoin.
Wow. I will tell you, my friends got me addicted. I'm a student. I'm learning. I'm still on the first chapter of sort of like cryptocurrency for dummies, but I can't read enough of it. I love reading your stuff, and we appreciate you sharing it with us. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
All right. We're through with this, and I believe we're able to make some sense out of it. Now, one thing I want to actually say is Bitcoin is on the public space. That's one thing I want us to kindly bear in mind. Bitcoin is on the public space. And in our private community, we are building privately. Now, when you listen to it, you find out that they said it's one of the best thing that has happened to humanity in terms of finance. It's secure and all that. But for everything that has its advantage, it also has its disadvantages. It has 21 million Bitcoin. And then when someone loses his security code, Bitcoin will be lost in limbo like for life. You would never be able to retrieve it back. And then there is no possibility of having a renewable way or a way of circulating Bitcoin among living human beings, because some people will die without releasing their private key. And at that point, the number of Bitcoin over the next 5, 20, 30 years will continue to deplete. And that causes a kind of inefficiency. Yeah, another thing with Bitcoin is that it goes up and down. It has no stable sort of value. And a whole number of other deficiencies, one of which is you can transfer $5 million, $10 million, $50 million, $100 million, and even up to $1 billion without being without being checkmated. That's not a good one too. I mean, money should be used in such a way that it does not constitute a kind of threat to some people. What the elites are doing is to fund wars, and Bitcoin can well be used to fund wars in a more classified manner where people would not be able to keep track of how these things are going. Yeah, you will see them on the blockchain, but really you don't know the people or the person that is pulling the strings. So these are just a few of the deficiencies or disadvantages of Bitcoin. Now, remember, my topic is as we build our membership into 1 billion, we will end wars. And I want to emphasize on that part of we ending wars, because people will be able to use Bitcoin. Yeah, we know that less than 2% of the global population of the world hasn't come to light of Bitcoin yet. And then with the fact that this El Salvador, the governor of one of the governors, I can't recall the particular states, was able to put it into law that, yeah, it could be used to pay taxes. It will only take a space of time. Other governments will begin to adopt it. So we see Bitcoin coming to mainstream in a short while. And to sum it all or to cap it all up, when the media begins to promote Bitcoin for good, it means it's now in their full control. They have masterminded it in such a way that it is going to be to their benefit. They would never promote anything that is against them. They would make sure that they manipulate the market to be in their favor. That's what they will do to Bitcoin, so that the bulk of humanity will still fall under the 1% or the 99% having 1% of the wealth. Of course, you should put into consideration that transaction fees in Bitcoin are high. If you're engaging in Bitcoins, it's even similar to engaging in Western Union money transfer. It's actually not profitable compared to how Satoshi Nakamoto originally planned it, so that there'll be very small charges. But at this point, it's not so. Now, I'm not criticizing Bitcoin. I'm only making you understand the deficiencies of it. It's also an excellent currency. But now, in our TVC community, being private, people would not hear about us until we have built to a substantial level. And that's exactly why I want you to understand that it's more profitable, even though TBC does not have its immediate value now, considering the fact that so many merchants hasn't adopted it yet. But the potential of TBC is huge, is powerful, is high. And one thing you should bear in mind is when you begin to see that usefulness of TBC, the admin wallet would have depleted to about 500 million TBC. When you look into the TBC admin wallet, you'll discover that the rate at which it is depleting is now becoming alarming. And I dare to say that between now and tomorrow, these 500,000 coins are going to be depleted. Watch how the whole thing is going to unfold. Now, based on that, I want us to have an idea of what we, TBC community, are offering you and what you stand to benefit when you work with our medium of exchange, TBC coins. Now, remember, we are private. We are going to end global poverty privately. We are going to build and then balance the system of the world by creating a system called equity. Yeah, the rich are so rich, the poor are so poor, but then TBC will be the bridge to bring about equality. We are going to mend the concept of inequality as we build our membership. We will stop wars because people will feel more comfortable banking with us. I want to use banking because banking means subscribing to our system or medium of exchange, and it will only get better. Now, I would stop here. I've said a whole lot of things. I think this is the bulk of what I will say. The rest is what this lady will say. And then I make a few documentaries. I read a few documentaries put down by the administration. And I think that'll be all for today. So please do well to listen.
Welcome to your dashboard inside of the Kringle Cashback office. I have so many exciting things to show you, I hardly know where to begin. Perhaps you can guide me in what interests you most by selecting one of these categories.
All right. Now, we are looking at TVC Wallet. And is TBC legal? We are going to look at this TBC wallet, after which I'll quickly summarize. Then we'll look at is TBC legal. And I think that will be all. So please pay good attention, okay?
Let's talk about the TVC Wallet. The TVC Wallet you see today is not the same technology we used to start TVC on March 21st, 2016, and it won't be the last. Unlike the approach most cryptocurrencies take, if you build the tech, the people will come. We put people first. The original tech only cost hundreds of dollars to build because it was a clone. Yes, it was a cheap clone, and later it blew up in our faces. But that's the past. From day one, we had dedicated most of our resources to building a community first. We view tech the same way we view clothing. When the tech becomes outdated in one way or another, we more or less take it off and rewrap the community into something better. This approach gives us a lot of freedom and flexibility, but you must be extra responsible or we may leave you behind. We strongly believe we will develop the technology to be able to do 1 billion transactions per second with immediate confirmation on both ends of the transaction. So stay close and updated when the time comes to move to the next technology when it comes. Migrations have become necessary in the past and likely needed in the future. Because of the way we do things, we're in category of our own. There's nothing like TVC anywhere. Copycat coins of TVC are always very bad copies, so don't get fooled if you come across one that's there just like TVC. Nothing beats the original. We hold our people to the highest standard. We expect everyone in the community to be lawful, loving, and full of respect for others. If you come across someone that isn't, you can report them and we will investigate. We will always have a department that handles this. TVC coins are not a joke. We are very serious about their value. We are at peace with all countries, and we want to keep it that way. Policies of how our currency is used take into account standards the world embraces as good. We may be self-regulated, but we don't want the world to see us as a dangerous currency. $10,000 transactions are considered to be a significant amount of money in our world today. Inflation may bump the number up over time, but we have taken that amount into consideration. TVC is not used in speculation because chaos is a large part of speculation. We have embedded centralized controls in alignment with how we value TVC. It's not the technology we value. We value the living men, women, and children that become members of our TVC community and agree to value by accepting the TVC membership agreement when they join the TVC community. This membership agreement was put into place before even one TVC coin moved out of the admin wallet into another member's TVC wallet. How we value TVC coins has remained the same until now and will always remain the same. You and no other member has any authority over changing this consistent way of valuing our TVC currency. We are not compatible with market-based cryptocurrency. It's because they are driven by speculation and turn into chaos. This is why merchants find it difficult to hold these other market-based cryptocurrencies. Within our centralized controls is the technology to turn off a send button. Also, we have technology to set levels of daily spending limits. These controls are embedded within the wallet used by the members. A TVC department such as the commissioner has the ability to turn off any member's send button if they are caught violating this membership agreement. If spend more than roughly $1,000 in a single day without first proving to the commissioner or such internal departments that regulate TVC that the transaction is an exchange of equal value, your send button will be turned off. Members of TVC do not compete on the price of TVC coins with each other. Processes are in place to turn back on said buttons that have been turned off by the commissioner when it is clear that the member violating the membership agreement has agreed to honor the membership agreement and will reform their behavior. It's these kinds of checks and balances that prevent any member of TVC from disturbing the peace we have established with all countries stated within our public notice. It's only through peace that we can expand the abundance TVC offers within the world at large and ultimately end poverty globally. Some members are not fit for our TVC community, and careful processes are in place to excommunicate them from our TVC community and their stewardship over the coins once it's held in their possession. Democratic processes for policy making are the norm today within our TVC community, and all members are encouraged to participate but are not obligated. If you care about policy making in TVC, join the discussions of policy making and your voice will be heard. As we grow in number and influence, we will have much to consider as we interact with the world. Economies are complex, and much care and thought must be put into every part of the economy we put together. You can purchase large ticket items such as homes, cars, businesses, or whatever, as long as it's done in the right way to ensure peace for all. TVC coins cannot be used for terrorism or any other illegal activity because these things also disturb the peace. All TVC disputes must be handled internally within TVC community, and no member has the authority to speak to outside authorities with non-TVC jurisdictions regarding such disputes. Self-regulation means exactly that. We are self-regulated and have no need for outside authorities. Outside authorities have no power or jurisdiction over TVC. We are lawful, and we expect all outside authorities to be lawful in return. This maintains the peace, our highest desire. Where would you like to go from here? Shall we continue with our standard tour?
All right. I think this lady has been able to speak volumes, and those of us who are members in our community has heard that there is a whole lot of similarities between Bitcoin and TBC, and also there are a whole lot of differences between the Krenko private society and the cryptocurrency space, which is on the coin market cap or exists in the coin market cap. So I wanted to go about is TBC legal, but I'm considering skipping it for tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll look into that, and then we will still address a whole lot of other things. Trust me, I'll be bringing in a whole lot of information. Remember, members as billionaires and millionaires are a lifetime. It's a system. Also, beware that we are about to launch our United for Food, and we are in a campaign. We are inviting you to take part in this opportunity. If you are willing, you will reap the fruit of the land. And we are going to change the world. I'm not mising my words. We are going to change the world. Now, when you will decide to be a part of us, because at some point you will, whether you're coming as a billionaire, as a millionaire, or as an employee, but then we have a well-structured plan to make sure that humanity will comfortably walk side by side with us, and you will enjoy working with us as a lawful, self-regulated private community. Also, bear in mind that the summer promo is on, and shortly this promo will come to an end. This promo will run until the admin wallet gets to 500 million. Let me tell you what's going to happen, because shortly this will get to 500 million. This will get to 500 million. This will get to 500 million. This. Now, when it gets to 500 million, pay good attention to what's going to happen. Look at our numbers. Our numbers are 3,771,468. And by the time we have come to 500 million, we may not have come to 4 million members yet. This is a combination of the old, the new, the redundant, and the active. This is the sum. The very active members, as at last month, are 4,709. Now, if you want to find out the numbers that are actively now in the mass adoption team, go to core team. Now, let's go to the core team and have a look at it. And then the core team will define how many we are that are actively making their subscription fee payment and also are willing to take part in building our community into 1 billion active members. Because those that will be in the core team, it's going to be their responsibility to continue to fund the community, because we are the life wires. And also, we are going to be the banks. We are going to be the new banking system on a peer-to-peer note. Now, we are doing away with the present financial system, which also has a go-between, which are their banks. Now, we are a community of living men and women that interdepend upon each other. The billionaires will stand in as the banks, and then the millionaires create the jobs, and the millionaires will employ the rest of humanity. You know, it's very similar to what this particular structure is explaining, this particular one. When you see this 1,111,111 will be the banks, of which the core team will be 11,111. The mass adoption team, 111,111. These are going to have the treasury. I've been emphasizing on this a number of times. The microfinance banks are these ones, and microfinance banks actually depend on the billionaires or depend on banks. It's very difficult for a microfinance bank to stand on their own. They are under the jurisdiction or control of a major bank. So also, the majority of these millionaires will not have enough TBC to be able to lend major millionaires, because millionaires will come to them. They will definitely fall back on these core team members and the mass adoption team, so that they can establish a system of what? They will establish an agreement. Of course, the billionaires are going to charge a certain amount of commission for lending money to these millionaires, to these last level billionaires, so that they can set up businesses. It's going to come at a certain cost, but it will be under a principle of equity. So I haven't explained in details, but I believe most of us are aware of what equity looks like. Equity, now there is a debt-based financial system. We are on an equity-based financial system. The reality of that will come in when we have built into 1 billion. I'm not skipping. I'm still here. I'm trying to explain something. And then what I was trying to explain is the core team. That's exactly what I'm trying to explain. Now, when you look here, you find out that as at now, the core team are 4,873. We are building into 11,111. Now, let's be real. This is going to take a while to fill out, and it could take as much as 3 months or thereabouts. But once this core team is filled out, there will be what you call a retroactive 1,000 TBC coins that will be given to every member that paid their yearly subscription fee. Now, I hope we understand that. Now, I was talking about these numbers. I said, what will happen when these numbers reduce to 500 million? Now, you will find out that we have not yet come to 4 million. Now, there is every tendency that we will get to 4 million. We should get to 4 million before that retroactive 1,000 TBC is given, or it should get to 4 million or close to 4 million, you know. Now, the thing is, by the time we have completed our core team, which is about 11,111 or thereabouts, you will find out that these numbers, after everybody that has paid their yearly subscription fee has enjoyed that retroactive, these numbers will suddenly drop even below 500 million. And you'll find out that below 500 million, we cannot achieve our goal of ending poverty and distributing the coins effectively to 1 billion members with the number of coins that will be existing by then. It is now at that point that the core team, which should be 11,111, will come together and deliberate, seeing very well that the admin wallet has been well depleted and there has been some active members paying the subscription fee, and based on the policy set by the admin on the kind of distribution taking place, which is this present distribution now that is taking place, we'll find out that with this concept, we can't continue to spread these coins and then fill out the whole 1 billion members. So there is going to be a review of this promo. Possibly it's now going to be winter promo. Once it's winter promo, then they are going to call to attention those old members, because some old members, about 300,000 of them or so, has enough coins at their disposal, and they see it as an entitlement. They see it as an investment. It's not an entitlement. It's not an investment. You do not own Kringle coins, and it has explicitly been stated here again and again. So those people, they will call their integrity, call their stewardship into question. And if they fail to respond, and that will be done in a very, very short while. Now we're looking at around September or so, this is likely going to happen. Now, when they call their stewardship into question and they refuse to own up, what happens is that those coins are withdrawn. Now, when the coins are withdrawn, then this number of coins in the admin wallet would have been less than 500 million. But then when they've withdrawn it back, it would have shot up to maybe 500 and something million or so. And then at that point, it's now going to be done in a very careful manner so that distribution will be taking place gradually. And then billionaires that are in the community will be getting as little as one whole TVC coin. Billionaires in the community. Now, those billionaires I'm talking about are going to be those that are in the last layer, the 1 million members. They'll be getting very, very little amount. They may not even get one whole TVC if they engage in a broadcast or they attend meetings or they pay a subscription fee. It will now become so little. And then it gets a bit more little and little until we complete this distribution. So you will find out that at that point, it is going to be quite different from the way it is now. At this point, being a broadcaster is a luxury opportunity, and that's why we are calling upon you. Now, between now and the end of today or by tomorrow, you'll find out that these numbers will change. And I can say that it's going to be about maybe 270, 280. That's exactly what's going to happen, because shortly these numbers are going to fill out. It would exceed 500 million before the end of this month. He that has an ear, let him hear and let him act accordingly. So I still have a whole lot, but I want to stop here so that those who are regularly following up on my broadcast can watch, understand, and then make their necessary contributions if they have to make any contribution. All right, let me go back and summarize. It's already 33 minutes. So for those of us who will be watching, do well to subscribe, share my video if you haven't shared it, and I will come your way again till tomorrow, by this time tomorrow, hopefully. All right, cheers and have a great day. Bye for now.